sure they're all dead before you leave.
Not on your life, Buster. I wasn't born yesterday. You don't frighten me.
Try that again and I'll kill you.
This is the police. Hey, you in there. Come on out now and give yourself up or we're coming in after you.
Make sure they're all dead before you leave.
Not on your life, Buster. I wasn't born yesterday. You don't frighten me.
Try that again and I'll kill you.
This is the police. Hey, you in there. Come on out now and give yourself up or we're coming in after you.
Miss Gucci walking to the table with matches in his hands. He's gonna burn that fucker down. He's gonna burn that fucker down. Take the tequila, I swear I wanna be
Good morning, one viewer. This is David. This morning we are working on an alert manager configuration, which is just default out of the box and is throwing me alerts about my K3S Kubernetes cluster. Here we are. For example, it is complaining about what? This. I wonder how to deal with this dead man switch deal. It's sort of immaterial on this cluster because this cluster only has one node. This is also interesting. Oh, I see. So if we were to lose this node, we wouldn't be able to provide enough CPU resource to run these pods. But this is a one node cluster, so this is not exactly a concern for me. The trick would be how to get rid of these rules. What we're looking at here is the Prometheus operator Helm chart values.yaml file, which defines how Prometheus operator, alert manager, and Grafana are all inserted into the cluster. And I'm looking for some knobs to tweak here to turn down some of the more aggressive rules, considering I only have a single node in this cluster. So it looks as if these may be the biggest knobs I can tweak for now. If I can find out where some of these active alarms are being pulled out of these default rules, then I can get rid of them. Now this last one is interesting though. This looks like it might be a legitimate rule. 28% throttling of CPU in namespace harbor. So I am running harbor in this K3S cluster, and maybe I haven't throttled it correctly. Oh wow. Okay, what is this? Hello, new viewer. What we're doing today is working our way through the default Prometheus rules that are applied to a new Prometheus operator installation, and trying to make sure that we've tuned all of our Kubernetes workloads so that we don't get unnecessary alarms. This particular cluster is built on Ubuntu K3s, so there's only one node in the cluster, and it is the controller. And because it's K3s, there are a bunch of things you would normally expect in a cluster that are not there, like the controller manager, which is why I believe we are seeing this alarm here, for example. K3s doesn't have a kube controller manager. It's not a standalone pod. It lives inside the K3s binary, I guess. So I need to find a way to suppress these in a elegant way. The alarm I've just squashed, I think, is this one, which was it's still there. It was complaining about the amount of time that one of my pods spent in a throttling state. So best I can come up with is, this is a metric that you can get out of Kubernetes, the period for which a pod was CPU throttled. So this, I think this is telling us that over the period of 5 minutes there was an increase, or there was too much. More than 25% of the time the pod was being throttled. I suppose I have to wait 5 minutes before I'll see the result of the changes I've just made. But I've doubled the CPU resource for the Postgres container, which seems to always be wanting more CPU. I've now just been playing with the resource assigned to the Harbor registry container, this one here. But the next question is how to get rid of these unnecessary kube alarms. One way might be to work out which rule set they come from. Like this. These are the default rules imported by the Prometheus operator. I don't know what I want. If I look at the kube control manager has disappeared alarm, compare that to this guy. He comes from Kubernetes absent. Yes, there we are. Cool, so if we now redeploy this guy into my K3s cluster, hopefully we'll see those alarms go away. But what else would we lose? We would lose knowing about the API being down, scheduler being down, and a kubelet being down. Again, K3s. There's only one node. If any of those went down for real, if K3s stopped working, Prometheus would stop working anyway. So I don't think we need to care too much about them. Let's see what happens after a refresh. The other alarm, which I'm not sure what to do with, is this dead man switch sort of thing. It's an alarm that's intended to always fire, so that you can then, in a sense, alarm on the fact that the alarm isn't happening. So if your entire monitoring box goes away and you stop getting this alarm, that in itself will trigger an alarm. doesn't seem to be grouped. But it has a name. Watchdog. Interesting. The only reference to Watchdog is in the default Alert Manager config, which sends any alert matching Watchdog to my receiver. In my case, I'm using Slack. So I suppose the trick here would be to do this. To send it to null. That means it will still show up, but it won't create a Slack alarm. Let's reapply that one. I just need to check that my microphone was working and you could actually hear me. So these alerts are still here, but I'm not sure whether they will expire or not. They may need some time to time out. Ah, good. So the over-provisioning error has gone now. It must have taken those 5 minutes for the metrics to clear. So now it looks as if my Harbor instance, when it's at least idling, is not being throttled. Which is good because I don't want unnecessary alarms. I'm going to put this on pause for a few minutes while I go to the bathroom, and then we'll pick up with the next bunch of alarms, which is a bit more hairy. Those would be these guys. 31 alerts, look at that. This is a larger cluster. This is a 7-node HA multi-master cluster, which probably has some legitimate issues that I need to deal with. hi, we're back. So let's look first at the easy target. This hasn't gone away. I suppose the trick will be to look at Prometheus and look at the alert rules in Prometheus. So these guys are still here. Maybe once a rule has deployed into Prometheus from the operator, it can't be removed, which is a nuisance. I don't care too much about the data that's left in here, so I'm going to remove Prometheus operator and redeploy it. This is why we're doing testing. Yep, so this is my little K3S cluster. You can see version number there. And just like that, I've smoked Prometheus. Let's redeploy him now. While I do this, I'm going to be loading an app on my daughter's iPad. This may take a little while. What I meant to say was that the bot in the channel has just told off the Pretzel music app for using bad language. Must be in the current title. What is the title? That seems reasonable.
Baby, move my way. Maybe you should stay. You can shoot me down, 'cause you've got that aim. But I know you won't. You came to play. Show me what you got, girl. Blow me away. You got the summer hair.
This is a very, very old iPad. It's the iPad 1.
Everything
She's 5, and she's just learning to draw and write, so for her it's perfect. I'm reading the password off my other screen because it's a complicated random password.
Trying hard, you're so far, a lighthouse burning in the night, drawing me off this sea, wind and waves going through my mind. You seem scared, unaware, I'm drawing closer to your side. So don't you hide, yeah. Baby, move my way. Maybe you should stay. You can shoot me down, 'cause you've got that aim. But I know you won't. You came to play. Show me what you got, girl. Blow me away. You got the summer hair blowing in that ocean.
I think I got it on the second time around.
Can't breathe in, I don't care. I gotta see.
Oh, no I didn't. Also, this version of the App Store is so old that when you're using a family account, it seems to need you to enter your password 3 times. 2 times for the child, and then it sends a request to the parent to say, please approve your child doing this. And then you have to enter it a 3rd time as the child after the parent has approved it. Oh, and now I can't install it because my version of iOS is too old. I thought I used to have this app on this iPad, and I thought that you were. Oh, I see. Oh, that's the problem. You can only install an older version of an app if the user you're installing it for has previously had that app. So the first time I had this app on this iPad, it was under my own personal account, and I'd had the app forever. This is the Bible app for kids. And so when I installed it onto the old iPad, iOS said, hey, look, this latest version doesn't work. Would you like an earlier version? So the trick would be to use a more modern iDevice as my daughter's account to buy the app, and then I'd be able to install the older app on the iPad. It's complicated. I don't have a spare device to play with right now. Okay, well, back to Alert Manager. Oh, that's not what we want. So Alert Manager is crash looping. Let's see if we can see why. Ah, right. I used null in my route. Because I thought that's what there was there before, but perhaps not. Let's have a quick look. Probably also explains why my previous deployment didn't work. This is the default values YAML provided in the Prometheus operator Helm chart. Oh, right. No, I was right, but there just was no receiver called null. So we need to add one. a future plan for this environment is that the 7-node cluster will send its alarms or be federated to the K3S controller. And in that case, it would be useful to have a dead man switch, because we could create an alarm that fires when the dead man switch hasn't fired. But we're not there yet. The other way to think about the iPad problem while I wait is to work out what hardware I would need for her to be able to run iOS 10.3. Right, there you go. If I want her to use iOS 10, she needs at least an iPad 4.
Throughout the crooked kingdoms, I watch the weather change. The clouds collide.
Right, that deploy is finished, so let's see whether the pod is running. Oh, it's still not.
Adorns me. My steel is fluid and fast. They shun my ways, avoid my gaze, a fugitive outcast. There is no pain I can feel. True retribution I deal through silver and steel.
The new line shouldn't make a difference. I just want to compare this to the original values here.
Deadly dark.
Yep, it looks fine.
Caustic curdle sour. Wound and weave and carve and cleave and gulf my guts in power. By tome or trial I master the secrets of the beast. By trap or burst now be dispersed, from torment be released. There is no pain I can feel. True retribution I deal through silver and steel. Silver and steel. Better make way when the witcher comes. Lebro is down. Better make way when the witcher comes. Lebro is down. I bear no
I
life.
think what I should do with the iPad situation is log into iTunes
I have no will
with my account and buy it on the iPad and then log back out again. It's not ideal because it'll mean she won't be able to upgrade it easily, but it'll last me until I can replace the iPad.
fragments fade. I clutch my blade and visit visions vast. There is no pain I can feel. True retribution.
May as well check what version is the latest for iOS 13.
Silver and steel. Better make way when the witcher comes. Lebro is down. Better make way when the witcher comes. Lebro is down. Lebro is down.
iPad 5.
Lebro is down.
Any of these guys would do the job. Our deployment is finished. Let's see if it worked this time. Ah, good. Maybe it was the comment at the end of the YAML line. Maybe you can't do that like you can in Bash. Come to think of it, that would make sense. Oh, look at that. There's Watchdog. That's not hurting anybody right now. And now we have 2 outstanding alarms. Both of these have to do with the fact that if we were to lose a single node, we wouldn't be able to run our workload. But we only have a single node. Let's work out where those guys come from. If we get rid of the Kubernetes resource group, we will lose overcommitment messages due to quotas. I would kind of like to keep this business about quotas. But these alerts seem to have the same name. So I don't think I'll be able to remove one but not the other. And so in the case of the controller, I guess I'm willing to surrender on that one. This song is not so much fun. Let's see what a iPad 5 would cost me. Oh, only $500. Is that all? Don't know if I want to get one of those guys. How old are they? Right, 3 years old. That should still have a good lifetime in terms of iOS versions. Do we know anything about this?
Smashed it In the city of dreams, we'll be immortal in the code. My name's you alone. Get out in the city of dreams. Get up, yeah, we're setting you free. Get up, get out, the voice will never die.
Right, so these guys are still here. Even though we've removed them, but we sort of had this problem last time, didn't we? Let's try and understand what this cube state matrix is all about. Alright, that's handy. So, that's true. I have restarted my pod more than once in 5 minutes, so this alarm is legit, but it should go away in a bit. I guess what we could also do, assuming that the rule is gone, which we don't know is true actually. Let's look for the rule. So no, these rules are still existing. Best I can come up with is that the rules are created. Prometheus has persistent storage, so when the operator starts up, creates a Prometheus instance, it would create all the rules. If I subsequently remove rules, I don't think it'll change. So we'll just flush it again. I have a meeting in 15 minutes. A video call. So I'll wrap this up by then and I'll start the stream again at about an hour later. I wasn't talking to you later. Here we go. Deploying again.
These are 10 things to never say on a first date. Take note. Oh yeah, I believe in reproductive rights too, especially for guys. Have you heard of the men's rights movement?
This is a strange song.
No. Don't order that. You're probably the last person in this room who needs any more carbs tonight. Hey, you want to meet my parents next weekend? You remind me so much of my mom. These are 10 things to never say. These are 10 things to never say. These are 10 things to never say on a first date. I'm not racist, but... My favorite author? Oh, you probably haven't heard of him. I don't think they teach Kierkegaard in the state schools. Be right back. I just have to do a number 2. Let me tell you all the intricate details about my recent financial troubles. Not counting what's probably going to happen later, how many other guys from Tinder have you slept with? These are 10 things to never say. These are 10 things to never say. These are 10 things to never say on a first date. Can I take this call? It's my ex. My favorite type of music? Probably nerdcore.
I don't think we have enough pods here yet. Let's just confirm that. We normally expect 6. Oh, we have 6. No, that's good. So in our fresh Kubernetes, in our fresh Prometheus, this alert is still here. Kubernetes resource false. That's what I did. Alright, well we did that one too. Yep.
What will change this time? On and on it goes while we stand aside. No, we really don't. And some place within a light that won't be colored out. Open up a light.
Ah, aha, look at that. One alert.
What could he say?
Well, we expect the watchdog to come back in a sec. This is pretty good.
Apart we are together.
This is the Grafana instance which comes with Prometheus Operator, which has heaps of cool graphs as well. Ah, well. The fact that we're seeing data here that goes back more than 5 seconds indicates that we didn't successfully wipe out our persistent storage. So we could possibly expect those rules to come back. Yeah, the volumes have been there for 37 hours. Strange, I expected them to be removed when we removed the Helm chart. Let's test that out.
What will end this time? On and on it grows like a cancer. We really don't. There's something in
Ah, the stateful sets. There is a issue with Helm at the moment, in that if you're using a stateful set, Helm can't delete your volumes because it doesn't necessarily know about them. A stateful set would expand and contract, and a new persistent volume will be deployed for each instance of the stateful set. So in my case, I only have one replica of Prometheus right here, and one replica of Alert Manager. But on my other cluster, I have 3. And it's kind of up to the operator to scale that up and down. You can even scale up and down based on autoscaler. There's no way Helm could accurately know which PVCs belong to the deployment that it's removing. So I have to manually delete those PVCs and then redeploy. -- all just wipes all PVCs in that namespace. Be careful with that command, because if there was something in there that you cared about, it would now be gone. And here we go again. This should be a clean wipe now. Now we should have some clean PVCs. Let's take a look at the Grafana data to tell us. Oh. Good. Alright, completely empty. And so, if I looked at Alert Manager, what I see is that annoying watchdog alert. But we know that's suppressed. So I think as a result of what we've done, I'll keep an eye on this during my next meeting and conference call. But I think now the K3S controller is clean. Next I'll move on to this bad boy, which has still got heaps of alerts. Oh, it's gone down. It was 34, now it's 30. But I'm seeing some probably legitimate throttling problems, like Cube Eagle is throttling. Now I know what to look for. It's clear we haven't provisioned quite enough resources to Cube Eagle. So this has been a useful process. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to take a break now, do my meetings, and I will start a stream again in about an hour to an hour and a half. Cheers. Oh, and here's my cool end scene.
A very good night.